by the head of the Punjab unit will be meeting Punjab Governor Banwari Lal Purohit shortly and will submit a memorandum against the Channi government to protest against yesterday's incident in Ferozepur, where Prime Minister's convoy was stopped by protesters. Tejinder Singh Sodhi, in fact, is there outside the Raj Bhavan, where this delegation will be demanding that action be taken against the Channi government. Tejinder, just fill us in on the details that we have so far.
See, Arnima, right now we are outside the Raj Bhavan here in Punjab, where the BJP delegation led by the Punjab unit chief of BJP would be meeting the Punjab government, Banwari Lal Purohit. You can see behind me is the Raj Bhavan, where the BJP leaders are expected to submit a memorandum you can see that there has been some movement. My video journalist, I'll ask my video journalist to show you. There has been some movement outside the Raj Bhavan. It seems that the BJP delegation has arrived. You can see that several vehicles they have arrived. We were told that the BJP delegation led by the Punjab unit chief would be submitting a memorandum to the Punjab government in protest with what happened yesterday with the cavalcade of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being stopped at the flyover. The BJP delegation led by the Punjab BJP unit chief Ashwani Sharma would seek dismissal of the Punjab government. This is what we have been told. But the Punjab chief minister yesterday, while addressing a press conference, had said that there was no security lapse. But on ground, we saw that the cavalcade of Prime Minister was stopped by the protesters on the flyover. So clearly a big security lapse did take place, though the Punjab government maintains that they were not informed in advance about the change of plan. They say that Prime Minister was expected to fly from Bathinda to Husainewala, where he was supposed to lay. Yes, Arunima.
Tejinder, just give me a moment. Like you're explaining to us politically how BJP is ramping up the heat. There is legal heat on the Congress government in Punjab as well. This is the news that we are getting. Senior advocate Maninder Singh has mentioned before Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramanna-led bench a plea regarding breach in security of Prime Minister yesterday in Punjab. Maninder Singh said it has to be ensured that what happened is not repeated. The writ petition be taken up. To that, Chief Justice of India asked, what can we do? But subsequently, Supreme Court has agreed to hear this matter tomorrow. The Supreme Court will hear the matter of Prime Minister's security breach after senior advocate Maninder Singh mentioned the incident and said that a writ petition must be heard. The Chief Justice has asked what can really be done by the Supreme Court, yet agreed to hear this matter. So there is political heat on the Channi government, and now there could be legal heat as well, because the Bharatiya Janata Party has been alleging that this was not just a security lapse, it was a grand conspiracy by the Congress party to cause harm to the Prime Minister. In that backdrop, for the Supreme Court to step in becomes extremely significant. Anusha Soni with me on the broadcast. Anusha, help us understand what this writ petition is really pleading.
Well, this has been filed by Senior Advocate Maninder Singh, who has also been earlier the Additional Solicitor General. He has been an ASG in the past. Now, he has mentioned a petition before the Supreme Court seeking a thorough probe into the security breach that stalled the Prime Minister's cavalcade in Bathinda in Punjab. The petition also seeks a direction to Bathinda District Judge to take possession of all the evidence relating to the Prime Minister visit, what police bandobast was there right now. The bench that we're talking about was the bench of Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramanna, Justice Suryakant and Hima Kohli. They have asked Maninder Singh to serve a copy of the petition on Punjab government and post the matter for hearing on Friday, which is tomorrow. Mr. Maninder Singh, Arunima, when he was mentioning this matter before the Supreme Court, said this was a serious lapse on part of the Punjab government to allow the Prime Minister's entourage or the cavalcade to be stranded on the road, causing unacceptable security breach. The Supreme Court has been petitioned through this plea that there should be a thorough probe under the Supreme Court's supervision, given the political situation in the state. It also goes on to say that there are certain very serious national security issues that we are talking about, because this directly concerns the safety and security of the Prime Minister. To be heard tomorrow, mentioned by Advocate Maninder Singh, senior advocate, and talks about a Supreme Court monitored investigation about what really transpired yesterday as far as Prime Minister's security is concerned.
Right. Anusha, also the Chief Justice, when this matter was mentioned, initially expressed apprehension that what can really the Supreme Court do. Can you help us understand what the observations from the bench was?
Well, a very brief exchange, as you would know, Arunima, that usually happens during the process of mentioning. Just to explain this to our viewers, mentioning means that a lawyer goes to the judge and says, look, I filed a petition. Will you please hear it as soon as possible? On that note, the Chief Justice of India asked that even if we take up this petition tomorrow, what exactly do you want us to do? This is a matter which is between the union government and the state government. To that, Maninder Singh briefly responded that there should be a thorough investigation under the district judge, and the Supreme Court should take cognizance because the elections are near in the poll-bound state of Punjab, and also this is a border state. So those were the concerns briefly pointed out, and of course in just some time as well we'll put out the details of the petition as well.
Right, Anusha, thank you so much. Anusha Soni there telling us about what's happening on the legal front as far as the Ferozepur incident is concerned. But like I said, there is political pressure as well. Bharatiya Janata Party's Yuva Morcha has decided to do a Mashal rally today. This will be all over the country against what they are alleging is a Congress conspiracy to attack Prime Minister Modi. That's what the BJP is calling it. You heard Shahzad Poonawala call it a Khuni Sazish. And this is what the youth wing of the BJP is now planning to do. Take this to the entire country, alleging that this was a grand conspiracy by the Congress party to attack the Prime Minister, to cause bodily harm to him. Payal Mehta has been tracking this story with me on the phone line. Payal, exactly what is the plan that the Bharatiya Janata Party's Yuva Morcha has?
Well, the Yuva Morcha of the world's largest party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, has decided to hold a Mashal rally, basically to bring to the light that how there was an attempt allegedly to actually cause physical harm and bring the Prime Minister in the harm's way of the incident that happened yesterday. So obviously this is in a way to register protest against the Congress and the Congress-ruled government in Punjab as well. So the BJP is going to be using its Yuva Morcha wing to basically bring to light this issue. And like Arunima, throughout yesterday we've been discussing that the BJP is not going to let this issue really die down, and they will be doing multiple things. They will be holding multiple press conferences, bring to the notice of the people that yes, this is a government here in the state of Punjab ruled by the Congress party that has not even bothered to care for the safety of the Prime Minister's chair. Forget about anything else. So obviously, as we build up to the poll, this is going to be a very significant move that the BJP is really going to be taking. They're going to be milking this issue to the best of their ability.
Right. Payal, keep an eye on that story. We'll come back to you. Like Payal was reporting, Bharatiya Janata Party has really upped the ante as far as this incident is concerned. But what is it that the Punjab government says in its defense? What has Charanjit Singh Channi really said to claim that this was not a grand conspiracy? The first thing that he has really said is that he knew of the protest, but there was no breach. So what he is saying is that this was not part of a grand conspiracy to in any way attack the Prime Minister. But what he can't answer is why was the Punjab government asking SPG to carry on with the Prime Minister's cavalcade? Why was that green signal given if the protests were going on? What Charanjit Singh Channi is also saying that protesters suddenly came back. He said till 3 a.m. the night before, he had ensured that the protesters all went back home, and then they suddenly made a comeback. What he can't answer is that if they came back, how did the state government not know? What was the State Intelligence Bureau doing? Because this was going on for 3 hours, and that 3-hour window was enough to warn the SPG, isn't it, that there is a problem en route, don't take that route. What he also says, this is what Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi is saying, that there was a ruckus on the route till 3 a.m. like I told you. Then why wasn't an alternative route provided? And that this is part of the blue book of the SPG. It says that a contingency route must be prepared. There should be proper rehearsal on those routes, and often multiple routes are kept ready. In this case, it seems that was not done. No action against any official is what he said yesterday. Does this prove that there was connivance between protesters and police? Now we have one of those protesters saying exclusively to CNN News18 that police did tell them that the Prime Minister is going to take this route, but the protesters refused to believe them. So was there some kind of a collusion? Was it just a case of police not doing its job well, not enforcing what it is supposed to do? So multiple questions there. Once again, Chief Minister reiterating that there was no threat to the Prime Minister's security. This was just protesters. They didn't mean any harm. But how can he say this despite video evidence of, the protesters coming very close to where the Prime Minister was? Anything could have gone wrong in that situation, which the Chief Minister is refusing to acknowledge. My colleague